Okay, so let's break down two trades that I took today. Um, the first being both on GBPUSD. Um, I mentioned this just before it says heading to 3 to 1, we'll see. And that was around 12:47 today. And eventually it did hit about 5 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1, right? Um, and then the second one, the other direction, again 5 to 1 or so. Okay, so let's break down those two trades and just see if you pick up one or two things that should help your trading. Okay, so straight to the charts. I like to have double screen as it were on the chart. So GBP USD, we probably should start on a higher time frame, daily time frame maybe. What advised me to take these positions today. So you'll notice that price has been over the past couple of months has been making that there was a low and then a high, then a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then price started to come down. So all through last week, price was coming down as it were, right? Um, and so today, the question is where would price get to? And typically, I want price to get into discount if it's going to print another higher low. So if this upward bias will continue, price should not get to this point. But I don't know. Even before we get there, we can still make some money like we did today. So the first question is, what can we find, right, along this last low that made a high that broke structure, right? That's the question we should be asking ourselves, as it were. I just want to take this out. Yeah, so there are a couple of things I can see on the daily time frame. So we have this zone here, which is at the extreme of it, of the whole move. So this here. Um, there is also just above it kind of fair value gap around here, right? But I'm looking at the extreme here, and then there's a decisional zone here, right, which is the first zone, as it were, the last move that led to the high, right? And it is from this area here, you can see what price touched it and then started to pull back. And so on the 15-minute time frame, if you go to the 15 minutes, that's what I was looking at this morning as well with the wave strategy. Price had 13 has crossed below the 89. So when this then happened, we started to think differently about this. And if you look at what price had done, let's shift this again. What price had done throughout last week, right? So price has just been painting lower lows and lower highs. And on Thursday, price did something, but we looked at this during our Sunday night calls yesterday. So you can see this high that led to this low, right? That change broke structure here and change of character actually. And then we had this again. And so when that move happened, we had this fair value gap here, right? Then price moved down again. Then when it reversed very quickly and came into this fair value gap, and then the high that led to that low that broke structure. So it just continued, and then we had this last high that led to the low that broke structure. And when you look at it again, the extreme zone there, that's what price then came back to from last night when the market opened. It, in fact, there was a zone here that price actually came into here. There was a zone here that price came into, right? And that I watched on Friday. So price just came into it when the market opened um, um, yesterday. No, price touched it on Friday, then pulled all the way back in. And then when the market opened, it just went and painted the high of the day and started to drop, right? So it just dropped very quickly. I didn't have any chance to get in, but it's still bearish. We could see it was still bearish. So my first position of the day was trying to wait for confirmation, as it were, right? Um, my battery was running out. Okay, so as it was dropping, you can see the price then created this swing here and then dropped again. So that became a high that led to a low that broke structure, right? So when you check that, what I then did was at the time all this hadn't happened, but that's what I was checking. So I wanted price to come into this my sweet spot here. So 61.8 to 78.6, and somewhere in the middle of it is where I like to find nice entries, right? So that's where I started to look at. But then typically what I want to then do is to use this area here for my stop loss. So when you check that out, that is about 13 pips, and I didn't want to have a 13 pip stop loss, right? On 1 minute. I didn't want to do that. And so it meant I had to wait for proper confirmation that price was going to be turning from here. And it's simple. All you're waiting for now is price is giving us, let's actually use this. Price is giving us higher highs, higher lows, right? This is what price is doing. So what I want then is for price to give me a lower high, so a change of character here. Then if price pulls back, I'm looking for a point of interest, either another block or fair value gap on this last move that broke structure. Once I find that, then I can follow the price to the downside, right? So ideally, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an area here where I can now take the trade. And when I do that, the stop loss should be smaller than that 13 pips. So in theory, that's what I was looking for, right? And so I don't have to wait for that to play out by itself. And so what was price doing? Price gave us a so that was a low, then a high, then a low, then a higher high, right? And then price gave us a lower low. So this then gave us the break of structure there, which is change of character as it were. So that was the change of character there, right? And once that happened, this is the move, the high that led to the low that broke that structure. I'm looking for an area here where I can now short from. And when you look at it, we've got this fair value gap here, tiny fair value gap there. If I stretch this out a bit, a tiny fair value gap here, right? But more importantly is the extreme zone here, um, provided some sort of, entry for me to get in, right? So when this pulled all the way back in, this was the entry, right? That's where I should have entered, but I missed that sniper entry there. But then at the low of this reversal candle, that's when I now got into this trade, right? I got into this trade here, and then stop loss is here. So from 13 pips, I then had a 4.2 pip stop loss. I used that level there because of these tiny highs here. Yeah. Um, but at least you can see that I've dropped my stop loss now drastically. But everything's still based on price action. So when you check that now, I was able to then get my 3 to 1 very quickly on this. So I got my 3 to 1 around there, which is what I posted in the group. So I got my 3 to 1. That line there is my 3 to 1. Right. I got my trade and see that M1 supply there, which is exactly what I've just shown here. So so as I took half of the trade off, I moved my stop loss to break even and then just allowed price to play out. And then what did price do? Boom, price came all the way. Where did price get to, by the way? This is exactly if we go to that daily time frame, right? That was exactly um, that area. Let's delete this, yeah. So this price came exactly into that zone, right? That we had already checked out on the daily time frame. Right? So if I go back to 1 minute, So once price came into that area, um, all I was then doing was waiting for the right opportunity to buy the market back up, right? And I did set. So you can see what happened there. Actually, check this out. Let's go to the actual thing. Let's go to the actual, what's happening. I can move my chart. Right, so you can see I had marked out sweet spot um area, right? So I was expecting price to come down into here, right? On that first move, right? So from here, I was expecting price to come down into this area, but it kind of missed it, right? So it missed that sweet spot area because from the 1 minute time frame, you can see after price dropped and we took some profit on that. Price then gave us, the sweep. There was liquidity sweep here, and price kind of built up here, swept liquidity there, then boom, just pulled all the way through, expanded to the upside, leading to a break of structure, which in this case was um, change of character. And so when I check the area, so I think I went to 2 minutes on this, right, to check what is the best area for me to get in. So again, my first move, which is this move from here to here, right, then gave me around this area here. Then I took the entire move, right? So the entire move then allowed me to say this area is an area I want to see price come back to, right? Um, but price hasn't yet come back. Not that it wouldn't. It hasn't yet come back fully into this area. But then what the price do? It took off and then created a new high. So what are we now having? We're now having price give us a low, a high, a higher low, a higher high. And so it is possible then that price will continue to go up. So even though I came out in the day trying to sell because price was kind of bearish, I can now see on the smaller time frame that price is kind of pulling back, and it started to pull back from an area of demand. So daily demand, which is quite significant daily. And so it's giving us this thing about pushing to the upside. Um, um, and so when price then missed at my entry, right, and took off and created a high, then I start to watch, right, and I went for the extreme. And so once price got to my extreme, boom, um, yes. So clearly on the 2 minutes, that's where we have that extreme demand zone, with my stop loss below here, and that's it. And with this as well, 3 to 1 was here, and the rest of the trade over there now. So you can see we are now at 7 to 1. So it's not too bad as it were, but we gotta keep watching this on a daily basis. Um, I hope this helps with that breakdown. But if you do have any questions, please do ask. Let's just win together, as it were. All right, you take care now. Let's speak soon. Cheers.